The 2024 NBA season is still young, but things are starting to fall into place across the league. Fluke starts, both good and bad, are starting to revert back to the mean, the real contenders are starting to show why they deserve to be in that category, and the awards races are starting to take shape as well, which is what we will be focusing on in today's video. Today we'll be handing out the early NBA awards, going through each of the major individual awards, picking out who would win them if the season were to end today, along with identifying two runners-up for each spot that are very much also in the mix. The point of this video isn't to predict what's going to happen over the next few months, it's more so to keep tabs on where things currently stand. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first award we'll be handing out is the Sixth Man of the Year award, and the early winner here is Tim Hardaway Jr. of the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks have been doing a fantastic job bouncing back from their disappointing end to last season, currently sitting in 6th place in a tight Western Conference standings, and they've done so with quite a few of their key players suffering injuries at different points. One consistent throughout for them though has been Hardaway subbing in and instantly igniting the offense. He checks in ready to shoot the basketball, scoring about 17 points per game, taking an average of 9 threes per game, and knocking them down at an efficient rate. When he gets going, he'll put up points in a hurry, and in the games that Kyrie Irving has missed, he's been huge to help them overcome that lost source of offense. Now, as for the two players that are right behind him in the running for this award right now, we have Austin Reaves and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Reaves came into the year as a starter actually, but just wasn't able to take the leap that many were hoping for from him, so he moved back to the sixth man role for the Lakers, where he has looked much more comfortable and effective. His production across the board has actually improved since his move to the sixth man spot. He's scoring the ball more efficiently, and he's dishing out more assists, operating as the initiator of the second unit and closing lineups. As for Bogdanovic, he's shooting the lights out in Atlanta this year, also scoring a highly efficient 17 points per game, 8 attempts from 3 per night, shooting 41% from deep. He's a big contributor to the Hawks being a top 5 offense in the league right now. The next award we'll be handing out is the Most Improved Player, and the early winner here is Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. When James Harden got traded away, the Sixers needed someone to step up if they wanted to be able to stay afloat, and Maxey took that opportunity and ran with it. Prior to this year, Maxey had been showing consistent growth every year already, but was always more of a third fiddle X-Factor type, who could explode for a big game but wasn't the priority, whereas now, he's the prominent figure alongside Joel Embiid running this team, and he's done a better job than anyone could have possibly hoped for. This season, he's averaging a very impressive 26 points and 7 assists per game. With that surge in production, he's managed to maintain his impressive efficiency as well, shooting 46% from the field and 40% from 3. He's shooting more jumpers off the dribble, his speed is still a dangerous tool that he uses to blow by defenders to get to the rim, and he's looking like a lock to be named a first-time All-Star this year. Now as for the runners-up right behind him in the running, we have Coby White and Alperen Şengün. Coby White's career was heading in the wrong direction heading into this season, with his production dipping each of the last 2 years. When Zach LaVine got injured, the Bulls seemed to be destined to blow things up and tank, but White immediately took his game to another level and has been lighting it up ever since, averaging 18 points per game on the season, but 25 points per game since Zach's injury. As for Şengün, he's been compared to Nikola Jokic because of their playmaking skill sets as centers, and Şengün is starting to come into his own as an all-star caliber talent this year, averaging about 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game for an emerging Rockets team. The next award we'll be handing out is the Rookie of the Year, and the early winner here is Chet Holmgren of the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is going to be an incredibly tight Rookie of the Year race down to the very end, but at the moment, Holmgren gets the slightest of edges. The Thunder have made a charge to the top of the standings after showing glimpses of a team that was on the verge of breaking out last season, currently sitting in 2nd place in the West. And with Holmgren now manning the middle, protecting the paint, they look more well-balanced than ever. He's blocking the 3rd most shots in the NBA this year, he's averaging about 17 points and 8 rebounds per game, and he's is shooting the ball very well, making 52% of his shots and 37% of his threes. Most importantly though, he's making a genuinely positive impact on a team that is winning at a high level, and you have to factor that into the equation. Now as for the two runners up here, we have Victor Wembanyama and Jaime Jaquez. Wembanyama is obviously the player that is neck and neck with Holmgren for the award right now, and there are areas that Holmgren has been beaten by Wembanyama, but context needs to be fully taken into account. Wembanyama is averaging 19 points and 11 rebounds per game, blocking 0.2 more shots per game than Holmgren as well, so his on-paper production does edge him out, but he's the go-to guy on one of the worst teams in the NBA, given the freedom to play more consequence-free on a nightly basis. He's also shooting the ball much worse from both the field and from three, so for me the efficiency edge and the impact on winning games gives Holmgren the advantage. For Jaquez, he is the surprise candidate in the running as a player for the Heat, who has been a revelation scoring the ball well inside and out, and helping them get through some rough injury stretches to some of their key players. The next award to hand out is the Defensive Player of the Year award, and the early winner here is Rudy Gobert of the Minnesota Timberwolves. When the Timberwolves acquired Rudy Gobert 2 off-seasons ago, their goal was to tighten up their then porous defense and get themselves back into contention. It was looking pretty rough last season, but now that they've got everyone healthy and on the same page, their plan is blossoming, and Gobert has himself firmly back in the conversation for best defenders in the league, where he had been for years. Players are shooting 15.6% worse at the rim than they usually do when they try to take on Gobert. He's tied for the 6th most blocks per game in the league, his positioning is always A1, and he's anchoring the #1 ranked team defense in the NBA, which goes a long way for this award. As for the runners-up here, we have Anthony Davis and Chet Holmgren. Anthony Davis has been healthier than he's been in a while, and as a result of it, is back to looking like one of the most dominant and versatile defensive talents in the league, blocking a ton of shots, averaging over 1 steal a night, and is at the heart of the Lakers' top 10 ranked defense. As for Holmgren, it's impressive enough for him to even be in the conversation as a rookie, but it's well deserved as someone who blocks the 3rd most shots in the league and uses his length to alter so many more shots around the rim, helping the Thunder rank as the league's 6th best defense this year. And finally, we have the biggest award of them all, the MVP award, and the early winner here is Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. People aren't going to like it, but Embiid has easily been leading the way again here after winning the award last season. For a 3rd consecutive year, he is leading the league in scoring, averaging a ridiculous 35 points per game. He's doing so while averaging about 12 rebounds and a career-high 6 assists per game, and in a season that most entered under the assumption that the Sixers would be falling off after trading away James Harden, they have not missed a beat yet thanks to Embiid's stellar play. The Sixers are in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference standings at the moment, just 2 games behind the Boston Celtics and 1 game behind the Milwaukee Bucks, and they've been able to stay afloat thanks to Embiid playing the best basketball of his career. Now as for the runners-up here, we have a familiar face in Nikola Jokic, along with Luka Doncic. Yeah, the Embiid vs Jokic MVP debates still aren't over with, as this will be the 4th consecutive season that they're the ones leading the way for this award, and Jokic is also still playing incredibly in his own right. He's actually averaging a career-high 26.5 points per game this year, while also being a triple-double threat nightly, and he's still neck and neck with Embiid. Then Luka Doncic is entering the fray as a legitimate candidate this year as well, getting his Mavericks team back into playoff contention behind averages of about 33 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds per game. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the awards races so far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.